the whole game of golf is played with ball spin. And it's, volumes have been written. Books and libraries could be filled with all the books on golf and all the magazines. And the golf magazines have something brand new to say every month, and they tell you 20 different ways to cure the slice. And none of them seem to work, but they keep giving you ideas to try. And yet golfers come to me, and I fix them in, nothing flat. That's because, number one, I don't have any information to hide. I want to give you all the information I can. I'm self-taught. I haven't had golf lessons. So I'm 65 years old. I started playing when I was 10, so I've played golf for 55 years. Never had a golf lesson, played at tour level for over 25 years. And I'm going to tell you, this is the simplest, easiest game you ever saw. My brother and I used to take a putter for 9 holes. That's all we took, a golf ball and a putter. And we learned to get around the golf course in just a few strokes over par with nothing more than a putter. And so we had to learn to kind of manage our way around and stay out of trouble. So it wasn't always just how far we could hit it. It was trying to not get any penalty strokes. So longer and straighter is going to help add a few yards of distance to you and try to keep you more in the fairway where the ball can be found. But people miss something really, really, really important in golf. And that is the number one thing that we have to understand about a golf ball flying in the air is that the whole thing is created with backward spin. Now I'm going to give you something so stinking simple that if you don't get this, I hate to tell you this, but it's your own fault if you don't get this because it's too simple. Don't try to mix this with anything else you've ever heard in golf because it doesn't mix. Because I've never heard another golf professional tell you what I'm going to tell you right now. If they did, they wouldn't be able to sell lessons very long. I'm trying to get all of my golfers to understand how to coach themselves and never need another video, and never need a lesson, never need anything. So I'm going to give you something really, really big right now that's on ball spin. And I'm going to show you on the tee shot. You'll see some of the things I've done in other places, but even a tee shot has to be spinning backward. I'm going to teach you what makes this whole thing work right here. There's the ground. Here's a golf ball. And here's the golf swing on a normal golf shot. Okay? I'm going to fill this in to show you where the divot would be. Golf ball's got dimples on it. And when we bring a golf club, any club in the bag, and we come here, strike the ball, and then go into the turf. I don't care if you dig a deep hole or just cut a little grass. When you go into the turf, you create backward rotation on the golf ball. So it is launched with backward rotation. Now, here's where people have trouble with their tee shot. Now, all of a sudden, they've got this golf ball sitting on this tee. And they know in their mind that now they're going to get under here and hit this thing on the way up and lift it and just smack it good. And the truth is that will never, ever, ever work. And that's why most of you can't hit a tee shot out of your shadow and can't make it fly. It dives in the ground, does all kinds of things you don't want. Let me show you what this really looks like. Just like the rest of our shots in golf, the driver should be coming in not steeply, but it'll come in very shallow, but still coming slightly downward. And you'll notice if I drew a line across here somewhat, that driver is still coming in and hitting the golf ball slightly on the downward path in order to make backward rotation on the golf ball. The golf ball has got to spin backward to fly. I don't care if you're hitting a pitching wedge, sand wedge, 7-iron, 3-iron, fairway wood, or a driver. It's got to spin backward. The only way we're going to spin backward is to strike the ball slightly on a downward blow. Now you notice this line is much steeper, like maybe hitting a wedge or something. I don't know the exact angles. I'm trying to get you to see something. But all of you are failing with your tee shot because you're trying to get under the ball. Now that it's sitting on a tee, you're trying to get under it and hit up under it and lift it off the tee. And as a result, you're topping it most of the time or putting overspin. You just can't get the thing airborne. When a touring professional hits a tee shot, he's got somewhere between 2,100 to 2,500 RPMs on the golf ball. That ball is spinning backward somewhere between 2100 to 2500 RPMs. Without the backward spin, the ball's not flying, and until you put backward spin on it, you're going to be a failure. To hit the thing in the fairway, once you've done that, you just put left or right spin on the goofy thing to curve it left or right. If you're slicing everything all the time, if you're hitting toward me and everything you ever hit in your life, if everything you ever hit, here's your target line, if everything you hit is slicing, you've got one of two choices, and that's all you have. Number one, you need to start the ball over here so it slices in, which is very playable. Or you've got to learn to quit putting right spin on it and put left spin on it. It's that simple. So in order to do that, you can never put left spin on a golf ball with a square club face. You've got to have the club face somewhat closed to wrap around the ball a little bit and put some left spin on it. This is nothing more than hitting a ping pong ball and just putting one type of spin or the other on the ball. That's all we're really doing in golf. It's the simplest stinking game in the world. If I tell people this, and it's not to make them upset or anything, but if you don't get this, if you don't understand ball spin, you will never, ever, ever be able to play the game worth beans. And ball spin is so simple. Go down to the store and buy yourself some ping pong balls and a paddle or something so you can just spin the thing left and right. I had a man come to me years and years ago, at least a good 10 or 12 years ago from Canada. The man was in his early 60s, played golf for over 25 years. He'd had all kinds of golf lessons. He said, Darrell, no one could ever stop me from slicing the ball. So he says, I don't even expect that anymore. He said, I've never broken 100 in my life, and I've played 25 years. He said, all I would like for you to do is be able to just help me to not slice as much so I can have more fun playing the game. I talked to John for about 15, 20, 30 minutes. Now, he's paying $500 an hour to watch this happen, and he keeps looking at his watch. He wants to, I'm talking to him all this time, and he's getting a little excited because he hadn't hit a golf ball yet, and we're talking. But I'm talking about spin on a ball, ping pong. He said, yeah, I understand that. After about 30 or 45 minutes of talking, that's expensive talking, I said, now grab your 7-iron, John, and I want you to imagine in your mind that the face of that club, of that 7-iron, is a ping pong paddle. I said, just show me kind of without hitting the ball, how would you put right spin? He said, I'd drag it across sideways and that would make some right spin. I said, that's correct. I said, what would you do to make left spin if it were ping pong paddle? He said, I would get the toe of the club wrapped around the ball to create this kind of spin. I said, now John, there's no target down there. Step up that golf ball, do anything you want with a club to put it in your hands in a way that you know you're going to guarantee that you put left spin on it, and take a swing. And he said, well, what about my grip and my, I said, I don't care about your grip, I don't care about your backswing, I don't care about anything. Just spin the ball to the left. First swing John made, that ball took off and curved left. You should have seen his eyes. They got as big as saucers. He was so stinking excited. John took that lesson right there, one lesson on ball spin, went back home to Canada, practiced for a season. At the end of the next season, you're not going to believe this, but it's a true story. John will come on camera and tell you. At the end of the next season, John was playing to a 7 handicap and won his scratch men's club championship. He stayed champion 3 years in a row, and then he didn't play the club championship for a few years after that. His wife Pat became the ladies club champion after a few lessons. And all I do is teach people ball spin. That's all. Spin it backward to make it rise. Spin it sideways to curve it left or right. That's the end of the game. Now, if you can't get that, you didn't pay attention. I'm self-taught, and that's all I knew was to spin the ball. That's why I can honestly look you right in the face and say, if you don't get this and it doesn't work for you, it's because you didn't pay attention to what I'm telling you. Because we're only spinning the ball backward. I've never had a student ever come to me and fail. Because all I do is teach them how to spin the ball backward and then left and right. And none of them have ever failed. If you'll do that simple little thing that I've showed you about ball spin, you can learn to do whatever you want to do with a golf ball and become as good as you want to become. Now listen to what I'm going to tell you. This is really, really big. Do not start out trying to hit the targets. Be patient and wait. Learn to curve it left and learn to curve it right. Once you can curve it left and right at will, whenever you want to, then start bringing those shots to targets. But the reason most people fail, and I tell them every time, but they won't listen. So I'm not the one making their failure. They are. They can't wait to hit a target. But they're not comfortable curving the ball yet. Learn to curve it where you want it, and then learn to curve it to the target. And I'll tell you what, you'd be surprised how quickly you can improve and become a way better player. You're going to enjoy this game more than you ever have because you can curve it left when you want, curve it right when you want, and have all kinds of fun. I got to tell you one quick story because it was just about 3 years ago. Some buddies of mine wanted me to play 9 holes with them, went out to their country club. I pulled a drive on the second hole. I'm behind trees, and there's a hole about yay big, about 15, 20 yards in front of me on this 5-par, and I've got to hit a second shot. And they said, what are you going to do here? I said, I'm going to take my 5-wood, I'm going to hit the ball up. It's going to go right through that big hole right there. They didn't think it's a big hole, I did. I said, it's going to go right through that hole in those trees, and it's going to curve left and head down the fairway so I can hit maybe a 7 or 8 iron home in my 3rd shot and get on the green. And they laughed and thought that was funny. They stood back. I popped it. Just felt like I could see the angles okay. Did nothing. Took my 5-wood and smacked it, and the angles were just right. Started right through there. I put that left spin on it. Went right through the hole. Then it turned left after it got through the hole. Went down the fairway. I knocked an 8 iron on the green in my 3rd shot and got a birdie. And they talk about that shot to this day. And all it is learn to spin the ball left and right and have fun with it. You'll do the same thing, and you'll totally amaze yourself and your friends. Learn to curve the ball. Learn to curve the ball. Learn to curve the ball. It's all ball spin. Ball spin, ball spin. You learn to control how you spin the ball, and you can become as good as you're willing to practice to become, because this game is too simple. There's no need for all these volumes and volumes. I could give you plenty. And I know you might be disappointed, and I apologize to you that there's not more here because I don't want to confuse you with a bunch of junk. I just want to tell you what makes this thing happen. We're only spinning the ball. Now go out and have fun with it, and then let me know how you're doing, okay? Thanks.